Is the world about to see a big war at sea right now? Because something extremely dangerous is happening in the ocean near Iran. And this is not a slow story. This is moving fast. Chinese warships are moving fast. American warships are moving fast too. And they are not just sailing around randomly. They are heading to the same small place, the same tight water path, the same dangerous choke point. It's called the Strait of Hormuz. And if you don't know why that matters, just wait. Because what happens here doesn't stay here. It spreads. It hits oil. It hits shipping. It hits prices. It hits your life. So take a breath and stay with me. Because once you see how close these ships are getting, you'll understand why this is a highly heated zone right now. And why one mistake could turn the ocean into fire. We need to look at what is happening. Not the loud headlines. Not the easy stories. The real situation. The ships. The weapons. The plans. The timing. And the first question is simple. Should Iran be scared? Yes. Very scared. But Iran is not alone. China is stepping closer. Russia is stepping closer too. And that is making the United States furious. President Trump has warned Iran to stop what he calls their dangerous plans. He says if they don't stop, very bad things will happen. And when a U.S. president talks like that, it's not just words. It's pressure. It's warning. It's a countdown. In the past, sensitive nuclear-related sites in Iran have been hit and damaged. That history matters because it shows something important. This region is not a place where threats stay on paper. Now America is sending even more power to the Middle East. Big aircraft, missiles, warships, more eyes, more reach, more readiness. But China is not just watching. China is sending its best ships to show it is strong too. And that makes this more than a U.S. story. This becomes a power test, a standoff, a showdown, like two big trucks driving toward each other on a narrow road. Who moves first? Or do they crash? Now let's talk about the ships, because the ships are the story. China has a new kind of warship, a massive one, a serious one. It's called the Type 055 destroyer. This ship is very big, one of the biggest destroyers in the world that is not a carrier. And it's not just big for show. It's big because it carries power. It has a lot of weapons. It has 112 missile cells. Think about that. Just stop and picture it. One ship with 112 missiles ready. Not 12, not 20, 112. And these are not all the same. Some are for planes. Some are for other ships. Some can strike land targets. The ship is built like a Swiss Army knife, but the blade is a missile. And some of those missiles are designed for the worst target of all, an aircraft carrier. That is why people call them carrier killers. China also sent other warships called Type 050 2D destroyers. These ships are fast. They carry a lot of missiles too. They're built for modern naval combat, where the first wave matters. These ships left from their home area. And at first, they did not loudly announce where they were going. It was quiet. It was controlled. But now, reports suggest they are going toward the Gulf of Oman to meet up with ships from Russia and Iran. So you start to see the shape of this. Not one country, not two, a group. And when groups form near a choke point, the risk goes up fast. At the same time, America is moving something huge. A giant U.S. carrier is coming. The USS Abraham Lincoln. This is not a normal ship. A carrier is like a floating city. Thousands of people, steel and fuel and aircraft and weapons. It carries fighters that can fly fast and strike hard. The Abraham Lincoln was operating far away, but Washington told it to move toward Iran quickly, because America wants to show Iran and everyone watching that the U.S. is still the boss. But here is where the tension spikes. When the American carrier moved, the Chinese ships moved too. It's like a mirror, like a shadow, like a dance, but a terrifying dance. And the music is silence. The American carrier also has escort ships with it, powerful destroyers designed to protect it, track threats, and shoot down incoming missiles. They have systems made for defense. But now the question becomes the nightmare question. Can they stop a true missile storm? Can they stop dozens of missiles at once? 100? 200? Because in naval war, defense doesn't fail because it is weak. Defense fails because it gets overloaded. This is what planners fear. A saturation attack. It's like trying to catch 100 balls thrown at you at the same time. You might catch many, but some will hit you. And in a battle, some is enough. Now, why is all this happening now? Because of an exercise. An exercise is like practice for war. China, Russia, and Iran do a maritime exercise often described as a security belt. It has happened before, but this time feels different. It feels bigger, more serious, more coordinated. They are practicing how to fight together, and they are doing it near a major American carrier presence. That is risky, because practice can turn real in 1 second. Imagine a sailor on high alert. He sees a blip on radar. He is tired. He is stressed. He thinks it's an enemy. He pushes a button. A missile launches. And once a missile flies, you cannot take it back. That is how big wars start. Not always by plan. Sometimes by accident. Sometimes by fear. Sometimes by one human mistake in a crowded ocean. And there is another layer to this. A quieter layer. Before the big warships got attention, there were reports of a Chinese ship in the area. A research ship. It's been described as Dang Yihao. China says it studies the sea, fish, rocks, the ocean floor. But many people look at a ship like that and think, spy. Because mapping the seafloor is not just science. It is strategy. If you know where deep holes are, where terrain is rough, where channels run, you can hide submarines better. A submarine that hides well can wait. And if a submarine waits near a carrier route, that is a nightmare for any fleet. So when ship like that stays in the region for a long time, mapping, scanning, it suggests preparation. It suggests planning. It suggests this wasn't decided yesterday. This may have been building for months. Now think about oil, because this is where the entire world gets pulled into this story. The Strait of Hormuz is a tiny water path on a map, but around 20% of the world's oil passes through it. 1 out of every 5 barrels. If conflict starts and shipping stops, oil supply tightens. Prices jump. Gas becomes expensive. Transport becomes expensive. Food becomes expensive. Everything becomes expensive. And people feel it fast. That's why governments panic when Hormuz gets tense. China needs this oil too. China buys energy from this region. China wants the route open for itself. But China also wants to stop America from controlling this route like it owns it. So what you are seeing is not just ships. You are seeing a fight over who is the boss of the sea lanes. A fight over power. Now there are also reports of tense incidents in the air. Drones, aircraft, close monitoring. At one point, an Iranian drone reportedly came near the U.S. carrier area, and U.S. forces responded quickly. That kind of event shows you something important. The U.S. is not asleep. The U.S. is watching, ready. But here is the line nobody wants to cross. A drone is one thing. A direct clash with a Chinese destroyer is another thing entirely. That would be a conflict between 2 nuclear-armed powers. Nobody wants that. And yet, the ships keep moving. Closer, closer, every day. Now Russia is part of this too. Russia has been sending ships from far areas. Russia and China are closer than before. They both want to stop America from having total control. They believe the U.S. has too much power. So by helping Iran, they are sending a message. Stay back. And that creates a team. China, Russia, Iran. On the other side is America and its partners. It starts to feel like an old Cold War kind of tension. But there is a difference. Back then, China was not this strong. Now China has more ships than America in total numbers. And China builds ships fast. Very fast. This shifts the balance over time. And it changes how bold China can be. Now, look at the other countries in the region. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, they are nervous. They don't want a war in their backyard. Because if missiles fly, they don't always stay over the ocean. A missile can hit cities, ports, airports, oil infrastructure. So these countries push for talks. They want calm. But calm is hard when everyone arrives with weapons. The ships are moving. The leaders talk. But the steel keeps closing in. This is a standoff. A staring contest. The first one to blink loses. But here's the dark part. If nobody blinks, everyone can get hurt. Now let's look closer at why the Type 055 is so dangerous. It has powerful radar. It can see far. It can track many targets. Planes, ships, drones. It's like the ship has strong eyes. And in naval war, the rule is simple. First look, first shot, first kill. Whoever sees first often wins. The Type 055 also carries missiles that travel very fast. Some are supersonic. Some are described as hypersonic type, threats depending on variants and profiles. And when something moves that fast, defense becomes harder. The U.S. has the Aegis system, advanced sensors and interceptors designed to shoot down missiles. But the problem is volume. If a small number of missiles come, defense can work well. If a massive wave comes, defense can be overwhelmed. Again, saturation. And that brings us back to the fear question. What if multiple countries fire together? Now, let's talk about the U.S. carrier group. The USS Abraham Lincoln has escorts, destroyers with advanced defenses. They also carry long-range strike weapons like Tomahawks, missiles that can hit land targets from far away. That means if orders come, strikes can happen quickly. That is part of deterrence. It's the message, don't try it. But China's presence changes the math. Because now, if America strikes Iran, what does China do? Does China stay quiet? Or does China respond at sea? That is the chain reaction risk. One spark leads to another spark. And suddenly, everyone is pulled in. Now here's another big point. Why did China send top ships so far from home? Usually, Chinese ships stay closer to their region, South China Sea, nearby waters. But sending them thousands of miles away signals something bigger. China wants to be a blue water navy. A navy that can operate anywhere, not just near home. China also has a base in Djibouti in Africa, near key routes. That allows ships to resupply, repair, stay longer. So they're not just visiting, they can remain. And that worries America, because for a long time, the Middle East sea lanes were considered America's main zone. Now China is showing it can enter that zone and stay. Now, think about the sailors. Thousands of humans on steel ships, far from families, long shifts, high stress, high alert. The ocean is crowded. The air is crowded. Drones, aircraft, radar contacts. Stress makes mistakes more likely, and mistakes in peacetime are accidents. But mistakes in a standoff can look like attacks. A bump between ships, a near miss, a warning flare, can be misunderstood. And misunderstanding in a missile age is deadly. There's also another strategic angle, Taiwan. While a U.S. carrier is near Iran, there may be fewer carriers near Taiwan. China could see that as an opportunity. Some strategists believe China likes stretching U.S. forces thin. One crisis here, pressure there. One move, two fronts. Helping Iran puts pressure on America in the Middle East. And it distracts America from the Pacific. That's a smart plan if you want to test your rival. And it puts Washington in a hard position. They don't have endless ships. They have to choose where to place power. Now what can we expect next? In the next few days, exercises ramp up. There will be videos of ships firing guns, aircraft flying, statements from leaders. China will say it is practicing for peace. America will say it is protecting stability. Iran will say it is defending itself. But underneath those words, the danger is real, because the ships are on a collision course. Not guaranteed collision, but guaranteed tension. And tension is where accidents happen. This is a time to stay informed. Things move fast. One day a drone incident. Next day, a new destroyer arrives. Next day, an exercise grows. You need to know what is really happening, not just the comforting version. Look at the maps. Look at the ship movements. Look at what each side is preparing for. Because the world may be near a turning point, and what happens in the Gulf of Oman can affect you wherever you live. It can affect prices. It can affect safety. It can affect alliances. This is why people talk about a new world order, a shift in who sets the rules. For a long time, America was the only superpower. Now China is rising and wants to shape the rules too. Sending advanced warships far from home is not just military. It's political. It's symbolic. It's China saying the old rules are changing. It's like a new kid coming to the playground and challenging the biggest kid. And everyone is watching to see who backs down. If China holds position and America steps back, other countries notice. If America holds position and China steps back, other countries notice. These standoffs are not only about missiles. They are about reputation. Now, let's go back to weapons for a moment, because this is key. The Type 055 uses advanced radar systems, often described as AESA-type radars. That sounds complex, but it means the radar is strong. It can track many targets at once. It can see small drones and big ships. And in some conditions, it may detect stealth aircraft at closer ranges. Radar is the eyes. Without eyes, a ship is blind. China has invested heavily to make those eyes better. Because again, first look, first kill. Now about those missile cells. The vertical launch system means missiles can launch straight up. The ship does not need to turn. It can fire in any direction quickly. Inside those cells, different missile types can be loaded. Air defense, anti-ship, land attack. That flexibility makes the ship dangerous. And one missile often discussed in this context is a sea-skimming anti-ship missile profile. Fast, harder to stop near the end. That endgame speed is what makes defense difficult. America also has powerful missiles like the SM series interceptors that can shoot down threats. But defense has another limit: inventory. Magazine depth. Even the best defense missiles can run out. If a large wave comes, defense uses many interceptors. If another wave comes after, what's left? That is why more ships matters. More ships means more missiles. More missiles means more waves. Now add Russia's role again. Russia has strong electronic warfare capabilities. Jamming, disrupting signals, confusing sensors. If electronic warfare degrades radar performance, and then missiles come, that is the nightmare combination. Fighting an enemy you can't see clearly. Now think about the alliance picture. Iran brings location and local pressure. Small boats, coastal missiles, regional networks. China brings large surface ships and heavy missile capacity. Russia brings electronic warfare and additional pressure. Together, they create layered danger. And still we come back to the human factor. Ships don't fire themselves. People do. People get tired. People get scared. One wrong interpretation in a high-alert environment can be catastrophic. Training matters. Experience matters. U.S. sailors have long operational experience. Chinese sailors are newer to long-distance fleet operations, but they are learning quickly. Every exercise gives them more practice. Every day at sea makes them more capable. So the longer this continues, the more prepared everyone becomes, and the more tense it can feel. So what should you do? First, don't ignore it. Many people think this is just another headline, but this is the kind of situation that turns into history. A real-life thriller happening on the ocean. Second, pay attention to the facts, not only the comfort stories. Third, understand the stakes, because war is never clean. It hurts everyone. It breaks trade. It raises prices. It creates instability. And in a world with nuclear powers, unpredictability is terrifying. We've seen dangerous naval moments in history. In the Cold War, ships sometimes collided or bumped, but there were rules and expectations. Today, those rules are being tested. China is a newer major player on this level and is acting more aggressively. That makes things more unpredictable. And unpredictability is dangerous. We are living in historic times. What happens in the next few weeks could be in history books for 100 years. In conclusion, the situation near Iran is a powder keg. The ships are the gunpowder. The tension is the heat. And a nervous sailor, a wrong radar blip, a misread move, could be the spark. China has moved advanced destroyers into the region. America has moved a carrier group into position. Russia and Iran are part of the equation, and the world is holding its breath. We will keep watching. We will keep breaking it down clearly. We will keep following the movements and the signals. Now, I want to hear your prediction. Do you think this cools down or escalates? Comment cool down or escalate right now. And if you want the next update the moment it drops, don't wait. Hit like so this reaches more people. Subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown, and share this with someone who thinks this is far away. Because if the Strait of Hormuz locks up, oil prices don't ask where you live. They hit everyone. Subscribe to Daily. Military talks for the updates you won't find anywhere else. The clear breakdowns, the map explanations, the ship movements, and the real signals behind the speeches. And one more thing, turn on notifications because this story is moving fast. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Stay informed, and I'll see you in the next update.